¿Ustedes? Sí. Yo
Encantado.
There is a word we rarely hear these
Hello,
days.
everyone. I
One
hope you're
that-
enjoying beautiful Sadar. And to get it started with this panel on sponsorship and commercialization in sports, I first want to introduce the keynote moderator. He is Carlos Cantó. He's currently the CEO of SPSG Consulting. Before that, he has been involved in the sports industry. He's currently also working as UNWTO expert on sports tourism. So, Carlos, please.
Thank you. Thank you, dobro došli. That's the only word that I can say in Croatian, sorry. Okay, so it's 3:30 p.m. after lunch in a very, very sunny day in the beautiful Zadar in Croatia, which is a challenge for everybody, right? You and I as well, and obviously all the panelists. Anyways, I'm gonna... Where's the pointer? Okay, okay. I like my speeches and presentations to start with a quote, and this is the one that I selected for today. We have experienced faster progress in the past 10 years than in all history. The speed of technical change creates challenging problems, both for the sports industry as well as for the tourist industry, isn't it? And also for the sponsorship activities. Can you imagine how the sport industry will look like in 10 years' time? And the tourist industry? And the sport tourist industry? Let's go back 10 years ago. No TikTok, eventually no Instagram, for sure Tinder, but that's another day story, okay? So the speed of the progress has been very, very fast in the past and in the future. The funny thing is that this quote was mentioned by a guy, again, an economist called John Maynard Keynes, back to 1930, which means 93 years ago. At that point of time, even at that point of time, the progress was very, very fast. Imagine now, not 10 years, but 2 or 3 years, and this is the real future. So we are here to talk about the fusion about sports and tourism. And let's start a little bit by introducing the main type of stakeholders that are part of the sport tourist ecosystem. By the way, the sport industry accounts between 1.5 to 2% of the global GDP. In the UE, in the European Union before Brexit, 2.12%. So, as the type of categories of stakeholders of the ecosystem, we can include athletes. This is, as you know, the ex-husband of Giselle Bündchen. Clubs, this is the one that I am a member of the board of directors, Deportivo La Coruña, now playing the 3rd division in Spain, but they used to win the Spanish league up to 1999. So, and we are gonna get promoted this year. Cross fingers, please, all of you. Good, good. We have events as well. We have governing bodies, committees, federations, and so forth, and so on. We have leagues and competitions, such as the NBA, which is arguably one of the most sophisticated competitions in the world. We have stadia, venues, facilities, arenas, tracks, swimming pools, etc. We have sport academies. Arguably, the IMG Academy, by the way, has been sold by more than $1.2 billion recently, actually yesterday. We have also sponsors, and we are going to talk a little bit more about the sponsorship industry and activity today. We have also media. I'm not saying TV, I'm saying media. We have also investors. With no investors, nothing happens. Nothing happens. So we need investors. And we have here as a distinguished panelist, Buhar, representing Doge, which is one of the main investors. We have also, cities, regions, destinations at the end of the day, fighting for hosting sport events. We have academies, universities, which are a great variety of sport-related industry topics and programs. We have consultants, obviously, and agencies. We have also everything related to technology linked to the sports industry, headhunters and recruitment companies servicing the sports industry. There are several that are specialized in the sports industry. We have obviously funds. We have also fitness. Only in Europe, fitness accounts for around 27 billion euros industry, 27 billion euros industry. We have sport equipment, sport apparel, and obviously, as I am a consultant, other. Tip, include other in all your slides, okay? But in this case, we have other, including travel agencies specialized in sport, and we have here Goran, representing one of them, sport nutrition, sport medicine, and so forth and so on. So these are basically the categories of stakeholders that are part of the sports industry. I'm not going to go through all these details in terms of the sports industry trends, but I would like to highlight some of them. First of all, we are not any longer in the sports industry. We are part of the sportainment industry, which means the fusion, the combination of sports and entertainment at the same time. So, as the industry is so important, the industry needs professionals, not any longer amateur management of the industry, but professionals in charge of managing the industry. The engagement is not the big thing, is not the main objective, because at some point and at some extent, everybody, I would say 80% of the population, is already engaged with the sports at some extent, right? Could be one sport or the other, one federation, one club, one athlete, etc. So the main challenge for the sport industry is not to engage people, but to monetize their engagement. And this is the big challenge for the sport industry. So if we want to have more opportunities to monetize this engagement, we need to enlarge the pie. So instead of only focusing our effort on what we call the ABIT fund, so the fund who is dedicated to know exactly day in, day out what's happening on the pitch, on the track, on the swimming pool, on the arena, let's enlarge and add 50 to 60% of the population, the ones that we call them the casual fan. They are interested on what's happening on the pitch, but also off the pitch. Combining all of them, the both type of fans, ABIT and casual fan, we can reach around 80% of the population. So, thus, we are better prepared in order to monetize the engagement of these people. I'm gonna, because we are a little bit out of schedule, as you know. Anyway, so as we need to target to ABIT plus casual fun, the venue is not the most important thing. Obviously, is in the venue where the action happens, but we need to go a little bit beyond the venue. And the venue, at the end of the day, becomes a sort of venue for experiences, okay? Because at some extent, and thanks to devices such as smartphones, we can be connected every single day of our life from everywhere, including from this beautiful Zadar city and this beautiful hotel, okay, with our passion, with our sport, with our athlete of reference. Oops. When I was born, believe it or not, in Spain, I'm from Spain. Okay? I'm from Barcelona, Spain, living in Madrid, Spain. Good. When I was born many years ago, definitely last century, the TV was black and white at home. Okay? So at that point of time, no smartphones, no laptops, no nothing, right? So it was a matter that the TV was the main set in our places, in our homes. Now, we don't need to talk about TVs. We need to talk about screens, different sizes and different technologies supporting different sizes of screens. different sizes of screen. Before, there were only 1, 2, or 3 access to the sport audiovisual content. Now, there's super diverse windows for every single athlete, sport club, sport federation, event, competition, league, etc., to have visibility of their own product. Why? Because in addition to the linear TV, we have added, as a matter of example, OTTs, influencers, Twitches, YouTubes, social media, obviously, etc. So at the end of the day, even for free, in some cases, everybody can have the opportunity to be visible. With more windows in terms of getting access to this sport content, or the visual content, sports should reduce the duration of their action. Why? Because there's a restriction. A day is only 24 hours. A day is only 24 hours. And we need to sleep a little bit, at least 6 hours. Eat, yes, beautiful lunch, by the way. Okay, work, study, work, exercise, which is very, very important, and go to bed, right? So we need to pick which content to watch, or to attend, or to see. So at the end of the day, the content should be reduced in terms of duration. This is why I'm pretty much sure that the majority of you, the majority of you are cricket fans. I'm pretty much sure, right? You know that the cricket test lasts for 5 days. I'm saying days, not hours, days. This is why more or less 10 years ago in India, they created a shorter version of cricket, which is called 2020, in just 2.5 hours, done. Plus, Bollywood, as the third time, is a Bollywood party. Sportainment, shorter duration of the action, of the content, okay? Great success. And this is a trend. Obviously, sports is also a very active player in terms of everything related to sustainability. In this case, 4 pillars: social sustainability, environmental sustainability, obviously economic sustainability, because at the end of the day, the sport industry companies are these companies and should be profitable, and also sporting sustainability. Do you think that the person who are inside the pool are avid or casual fan? I would say casual fan, isn't it? If we only target to avid fans, eventually we miss the opportunity to increase our revenues and to actually monetize the engagement. So actually it's a combination always, sportainment, sport plus entertainment. I have other examples such as renting. For example, this is the Spotify Camp Nou in Barcelona that can be rented partially. I think it costs between 4,000 or 6,000 euros only for a portion of the Spotify Camp Nou stadium to be married. Are you planning to get married next year, maybe, eventually? Divorce party? Okay, so eventually, and the president of FC Barcelona will certainly appreciate your business for sure, because they are struggling. Anyway, just an idea, okay? Just an idea. Another very extremely important trend in terms of the sport industry is to know exactly who is behind the scene. And this is also relevant from a sponsor perspective, who is behind the scene. And as the sport industry is maturing and more professional year after year, more investment funds, private equity, and so forth and so on are interested in investing in the sport industry. As a consequence, the sport industry is gaining also in terms of professionalism, and so forth and so on. There is a lot of private equities, investment funds investing in different clubs, even in different federations, leagues, and competitions. Okay? And also, and tomorrow you have the opportunity to listen and to learn from Sail GP, another way of governance, which is called DAO, D-A-O. But I will I'm not going to be the spoiler. Okay, so tomorrow you will learn a little bit more about this. Sorry. Sport tourism. I would say that sport tourism, which is very, very significant and relevant in the tourist sector, it accounts around 10%, as you know, is not only composed by events. Actually, we have a variety of subcategories of the sport industry. For example, specific, I go to Zadar for sailing reasons. I go to Andorra for skiing reasons, etc. I go to London for rowing reasons, for example, okay? I go to Bali for surfing reasons. Events, both as an attendee or as a participant. Not only big major events, but also amateur events. For example, senior games. For example, fighter and police games, and so forth and so on. Again, seasonality for the tourist industry. Academies and training camps. As you know, especially in Europe, in wintertime, clubs from the north go to the south to keep training and to keep competing, right? So this is also a subcategory of sport tourism that has been developed very, very much in a lot of destinations. Among them, Spain, Portugal, Croatia, Tunisia, Turkey, Dubai, etc., etc., also in the Caribbean. As an activity at the destination, if it happens that you are in Zadar, for example, and apparently there's a tennis tournament, okay, that's something else to do while you are. This is not the main reason to visit Zadar, but is a secondary reason to visit Zadar when you are here, to sizzle the destination. And last but not least, MICE, actually this Congress, the second World Sport Tourist Congress, is a clear and classic example of MICE. MICE related to the sports industry. MICE, meetings, incentive, congresses or conventions and exhibitions, as you know. And last but not least, nostalgia. Nostalgia means, for example, you go to Lausanne in Switzerland because this is the headquarters of the IOC and you can visit the Olympic Museum, which is absolutely nice. Or you go to the exciting Springfield in Massachusetts, USA, where there's nothing else that to visit the Hall of Fame of basketball, right? That's the only thing that you can do at the Springfield, basically. Sponsorship. Sponsorship accounts for around 68 to 69 billion USD dollars, okay? Around 70 to 75% of this amount of money comes from sports properties. Sponsorship is basically, this is not a sponsoring, okay? This is not a sponsor. I just put this photo in order to get your attention, okay? This is absolutely, according to my understanding, this is not a sponsoring, yeah? Sponsoring is an association, is a coin with two tails, the sponsor and the property, and both they should to speak the same language. So it is up to them to take this opportunity onwards. Why sponsorship is growing? Because one reason is that it's not saturated, and the second, I would say, and the most important reason, because it is not intrusive. What does happen when you are checking your smartphone and a pop-up appears, or a banner? Tell me, what do? We wait 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, cross clock. Yes, because we are not interested any longer in advertisement, correct? Because they are usually intrusive. I'm not saying about the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl, that's another day story. Actually, the Super Bowl is a 3-element show or product. The game itself only appeals to avid fans. How many of you are super NFL fans? Okay, I'm the only one. Second element is the halftime show presented by Apple Music, okay? This is targeted to avid and casual fan at the same time. And the commercials are part of the show, are part of the content. They are not intrusive because the week before and the week after, everybody talks about that content. the commercials. So this is part of the show itself. Good. So when you, as a brand, you decide to invest in sponsorship, you need to invest twice, in rights and then in activating these rights, okay? And this is super important. As a brand, this is a classical example of the framework that some of the brands can use in order to strategize why to sponsor, then what to sponsor, then how to activate it, and what are the targets of this activation, and fourth, but not least important, how to monitor, how to measure the investment in sponsorship. Obviously, according and in line with the objective that you have set in the first stage of the framework. Sponsorship goes far, far, far beyond brand visibilities and values. At the end of the day, some very, very important properties, such as the Olympic Games or Master Augusta, they do not offer brand visibility to their sponsors, but Omega, because of traditional reasons. They pay between $50 to $100 million with no brand visibility as part of the agreement, okay? So activation is extremely important. Yes. So this is a kind of Maslow pyramid. As high as we go through this pyramid, the more sophisticated is how we activate the sponsorship. And to activate the sponsorship, right now, it is super important to link your activation activities with social and or environmental sustainability projects. That's a must for the vast majority of brands, that they are not looking only brand visibility at all. My company, PSG, put together on an annual basis a report. This is some of the results of the 15th edition of this report, Sponsorship Barometer 2022. Sorry, it's not 2002. So we ask brands, why do they sponsor? Obviously, brand visibility is the main one, which should be considered as something that you should provide, but it is not sufficient. It is not enough. You need to provide them more opportunities, especially in terms of reputation. As you can see here, in 2014, only 20% was the weight in terms of importance, and growing up to 55% right now as we speak. What kind of rights or benefits of sponsorship are more important? Exclusivity in terms of sector, also brand visibility, VIP hospitality, and provide the sponsor, the brand, with unique content in order to help them to differentiate from their competitors and also from other sponsors of the same property. As mentioned before, nowadays and moving forward within the next 5 years, social media, influencers, and OTT are the most preferred channels and platforms for brands to use. There is no... Good. What are the targets? The funds of the property are not the main target when it comes to sponsorship. For brands, their most important target is their existing clients or customers. Their existing, not the funds of the property. A sponsorship at the end of the day is like a marriage. When you sign a sponsorship agreement, this is not the end of anything, this is the start of everything, like a marriage, okay? You need to keep the flame alive, day in and day out. Exactly the same with the sponsorship. As far as I remember, the most longevity sponsorship deal, and correct me, is one is Robinson's, Wimbledon, more than 1 century of marriage. Good. Just to finishing, what are the main trends in terms of sponsorship? Again, social purpose, so social and environmental sustainability activation, this is key. Also physical and phygital, which means the combination of digital and physical, and also empathy between the sponsor and the property. They need to talk the same language, they need to understand them. From a property perspective, they need to put together their sponsorship program, obviously. And when it comes to destinations to sponsor other properties, they can also use sponsorship as a very, very efficient tool in order to get their destination promoted 360 degrees. As a matter of example, this is back to 2011-12 when Andalusia sponsored at that point of time, the Sony Ericsson Open in Miami, ATP and WTA. It was kind of combination and cooperation between sport, culture, trade, and tourism all together, working all together. Or Beijing, after the Olympics and Paralympics in 2018, they started to activate the promotional plan of attracting tourists from the United States of America to Beijing, starting by sponsoring the Lakers. And then they moved to the following season, they moved to New York, and they sponsored for one single season the New York Knicks, the NBA team. And with all of this, I really appreciate your attention, and thanks, Vala. Okay, now I'm going to introduce one by one the distinguished panelists that are joining us this afternoon. I'm going to shorten their bio because it's so large. So first of all, I would like Burak Baykan. He's the Regional Director, SEE Doğuş Holdings. He's responsible for the activities of the group in the region. He was born in Istanbul on the 8th of August, so please take note and send him a message or a birthday gift on the 8th of August. He has an MBA from Touro University in Moscow. He has been working in Russia for many years as commercial director at GVT Dynamics Logistics, Collection Mobilia, etc. And he started his career at Doğuş Holding in 2007. Welcome. What's your favorite sport?
Mostly football.
Mostly football.
Soccer, yeah.
Football or football?
Soccer.
Soccer, yeah. Soccer. Because in America it's football. Football. Welcome, Burak. Thank you. Judith Hidalgo, she's the director of Andorra Business and Andorra Sports Innovation Hub. She holds a degree in economics from the Universitat Autònoma de Barcelona in Spain and has more than 20 years of experience supporting businesses in their international expansion. She has also an MBA from the Power MBA Business School. She's been living in Canada, in Australia, and she's been working for Acció, which is the trade and investment agency of the Catalan government in Spain. And since 2017, she's the director of Andorra Business and head of Andorra Sports Innovation Hub. Welcome.
You. And 26th of October.
26th of October, please
no,
take note. Okay. Birthday gift also for Judith. Favorite sport?
Skiing and skating.
Skating. Good. Excellent. Have you been to Andorra? Any of you? Not okay. All of you, not yet. Okay,
not
so
yet.
I'm asking again. Have you been to Andorra?
Not yet.
Not yet. Perfect. Okay. I have no commission. Okay. Goran Sprem. As you know, he's a world and Olympic gold medal handball champion. Now, executive director of sport travel department at Uniline, which is a sport travel agency. He was born on July the 6th. Okay? These are the notes. These are the official notes, okay? He's a retired Croatian handball player, Olympic medal, so congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And he has been player for many clubs that I'm not able to rightly pronounce. RK Medveska Zagreb, also in Norway, etc. Sorry. He's a member of the Croatian national handball team who have won the gold medals in 2003 World Men's Handball Championship and 2004 Summer Olympics in Athens.
Yes.
So, and since 2013, he works at Uniline, now as Executive Director of Sport Travel, What's your favorite sport? I
Football,
can guess. Handball. Good. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Last but not least, Rose Wangen-Jones. She's the managing director at London and Partners, in charge of marketing, destination, and commercial. So 3 salaries at the same time. London's Partners is working with the mayor of London as a network to promote London as a leading world city. It is necessary to specify London, UK, not London, Ontario, Canada, just to make sure that you are working for another.
You break my heart.
Yes. And she also launched the London 2030 Tourist Vision, aligning the tourist sector behind a common vision for London as a world-class destination. She used to work at Leo Burnett, Saatchi & Saatchi, and WPP, and she holds a BA Economics from DePauw University, and MBA UNC Kennan Flagger Business School. Favorite sport?
Carlos, you know what? I'm going to say cricket, just because of the joke you made earlier.
Are you more to watch 5 days of a cricket test or
Yes.
2020?
Yes, in a sunny London day, which is very typical. Absolutely. No,
Absolutely.
the 5 days.
Thanks
pins.
for your cooperation. I really appreciate it. Anyway, good. So before starting the panel, I would like you to open your app, the app of the Congress, that I'm pretty much sure that all of you have, right? So find this panel, click on it. Click on it. I'm doing, as we speak, we have a kind of poll. This is not an exam, okay? I'm not going to ask what's the percentage of at all. So I'm doing, as we speak, go to the sponsorship and commercialization session, scroll down a little bit, and you'll find polls. So there's a poll here. In your opinion, select the 3 most important factors that the sponsors seek when sponsoring sport tourist activities. So this will be part of the conversation with our distinguished panelists. So you can, the poll is open. Quite close. I give you 45 more seconds, okay?
Should we do? Should we also?
I know, I was going to say
30
exactly.
seconds.
Solid.
Brand
What you like,
visibility,
yeah.
brand alignment with sport values, increase in sales,
Sorry.
association
No,
with other
just saying
sponsors, offering perks
association
to
with other
VIP clients,
sponsors,
and
yeah.
also targeted marketing for a specific
Business somewhere else?
sport.
And 3, 2, 1, done.
You are done? So I close.
Alignment with sport values.
I gave you the opportunity. It was now or never. So the results are B, brand alignment with sport value, then targeted marketing for specific sports, as well as increase in sales. Big applause for everybody that has participated. Good. So we can start with the panelists. I have no idea what's the time because nobody sponsors, so I have no watch. I don't know why some watch brands sponsor Rafa or Roger and not me. So I decided not to wear, so I need to check. Good, so thanks again for taking your time. It's a great pleasure to have. We can start with a general question to all of you, and then we can granulate in some of the specifics. How important for a destination and for an event and for a sponsor is the tourist and, let's say, image impact of an event that takes place in a selected destination? How important it
Who
is?
starts?
Goran, you as the
Thank you one more time.
Olympic
for reminding me.
champion.
Yeah, how important is it? It's super important, so we should say, because the sport events and traditionally the complete sport tourism and everything around is destination brand, and the destinations made the brand up with the sport events. The destination, as became well known. We can see just the Olympic Games, the Olympic towns which held the Olympic Games every 4 years. So the last 100 years we know exactly which town was where, and you have some benefits, you have some tradition you take with you, and sports tourism is something which bring together sponsors, which bring together the sportsmen, the athletes, and all tourism, all the things working together with the sports. So everybody, we can see here, for example, in Zadar, now Zadar is the host, but at the end, Zadar will be the town which held the second Congress, and will always stay in mind as something new, as something good, and something a destination bring up.
Eventually, some of the attendees and participants at this Congress will come back, right? I mean, I would say that this is one of the reasons, right?
One of the main reasons, for example, in the sector of tourism, in agencies, is to when you work with the young athletes, with young people, is to try to bring them back. When you have some events here, where we have a lot of events here in Croatia, we work with a lot of camps with young people, and we in the last 10 years can I say that the most of the people which came here 2014, 2015, now when they are seniors, and they're coming back. They're coming back to the preparations. They come back to train here. They come back to the vacation. They come back with the family, and they will come back all their life. So it's one part of the sport. One part of the sport tourism is that bring not just the whole system, the whole your life, stay something with you. I would say from my point of view. For example, I was win the Olympic medal in Athens 2004, and the Athens is for me some special town. You know, I was there with my family, I was there with the kids. I showed them, and that's the sports. What sports bring me in my life is something which is I can never forget. It's unforgettable, and really, it's something which give you. It's hard to explain. Which gives you something bigger picture of everything, and yours just bring you to do more in your life in this sector.
Excellent. Rose, sorry.
No.
Rose, your city, London, has hosted a couple of times
London, the UK,
the
yes,
Olympic
yes,
and Paralympic and other big events, Wimbledon and so forth.
Exactly, no, so
Also, we lost the medal in Beijing 2008, and I'll never lose that.
we'll never go back. I think it's really interesting to hear because you're talking, from the sport, and that's absolutely right, that you can associate, and Wimbledon, of course, is the best example of something, a sport that then you associate intrinsically with a destination. But also, it's the other way around, and that's what, from a destination, you want to associate with a destination and what that destination brings. Wimbledon probably wouldn't be the way it is if it was held somewhere else, if that makes sense. There's something about London that is embedded. It's not just tennis, it's tennis in London.
Exactly.
So I think that it works both ways, and one of the things that I would want to believe that a destination has is that attraction. How do you want to associate yourself, and how does that enhance your own sport or your own brand when we talk about sponsorship? How can we all benefit from that? So there's something that we as a destination bring to the table. It's not just the sport associating itself with the destination. So what's interesting is that it works both ways to the benefit of both, again, for those infamous visitors that are so important for so many reasons, to come that once and to come again and again, because it's all part of that experience.
Burak, your group is investing a lot, not only in sponsoring EuroLeague basketball and basketball clubs and so forth, but also in sailing, in marinas and so forth, that some of these marinas or clubs are hosting also events. Yes. How important is the tourist impact and the image impact?
Yeah, actually, to this main question, I would prefer to contribute with an example that we already shared in this beautiful town, Zadar. We are investing in Croatia since 2009. And the main investment area was marinas. The first investments in Croatia was marinas, then hospitality, hotels. We are still investing in Croatia. But, thanks to our chairman, we also had a chance to take part in high-level sailing competitions. And during all these venues that we visited in Europe, we have seen Croatia had everything to host a major event. But there was nothing happening in the international sense. So, of course, we took the step, we took the initiatives as an investor, then we also became the sponsor because sailing was also very much associated with what we were doing, marinas. You know, we started with a big target. We wanted to bring, you know, the TP52 to Croatia those years, and it was not possible. We were not able to convince the organization to come. You know, they were, you know, a bit unsecure in terms of feeling about how this event can be hosted in Croatia. But then, all of a sudden, we got an offer from more, let's say, amateur but widespread, you know, class, Melgis. Sorry, Far 40. Then we jumped on it, we took it. And we really that time also witnessed the difficulties. Even you are the sponsor, you are able to fund this event, in organizational sense, because, you know, Croatia, we have many successful also Olympic gold medalists in Croatia in sailing, but organization is something else. So we got the experience. Then only the positive word of mouth of all those sailors that took part in Far 40, which were our first trial in Croatia, opened the gate for 2-3 very big events of sailing in Croatia. So, yes, that time, because, you know, Croatia was developing, still is developing, in terms of attracting brands and events. We initiated this thing, we sponsored, we put great effort, we collected that time all the necessary stakeholders, then after some time we hosted TP52 2 times in Šibenik in Zadar, and actually the next step, not without this time initiative, ORC World Cup came to Croatia. So what I have seen in the events that we you know, took place after many years, we started to solve those sailors, those sport people in different locations of the world, in the highest level of sailing, and we were so happy to see all of these sports people, all of these class representatives, even the own sponsors of the classes, they all of a sudden became the diplomats, spokespeople of Croatia as a sailing destination. So to start to bring this level is not easy. But there, I really wish every destination, every country finds such understanding investors that can really feel the value between the business and the connection with the people, that we really believe, and I'm very proud to be part of this structure in Croatia. And that's why whenever it is taught, you know, whenever it is, you know, mentioned anything about the Ush Group, this contribution is always in our very humble memories.
Okay.
And this went on with basketball, many events. And now, as a result, you know, when you take the right steps, collect around the proper stakeholders, the success is there. Every destination can really manage this when they find the proper event with strong synergies between the stakeholders.
Absolutely. You are doing a great job in this, creating these synergies and taking advantage of the economies of scale of your business, the destination, the sport, etc. Judith, Andorra is hosting very important events such as the FIS World Cup final a couple of times, stages of the Tour de France, La Vuelta and so forth. I'm assuming that it's very important to showcase your small country in terms of size, in terms of surface, but very important.
Absolutely. And as I've seen the audience doesn't know much about Andorra, let me tell you very briefly how important tourism and sports are for the country. Andorra is a country of 80,000 inhabitants, 80,000 inhabitants, and we receive over 8 million visitors. So I'm sorry to contradict the Prime Minister this morning. We multiply by 100 the visitors in the country. We only have 468 square kilometers, but we are very focused on mountain sports, so it's skiing, hiking, and cycling pretty recently, but we've positioned ourselves very strongly. So for Andorra, such a small country, as Carlos mentioned, it is very important to have this collaboration, this partnership, more than just in sponsoring, of having big events, big World Cups, for example. As he said, we had the skiing World Cup, but we also the free ride World Cup. Another very important one is the mountain bike World Cup, which has been amazing. And also we host one of the stops of the legs of La Vuelta, as well as Le Tour. So for us, it's a way of reinforcing what Andorra wants to sell to the world. It's a way of diversifying our tourism and making it strong in the strategic lines that the country wants to work. Not only that, we link that very much with the local return, of course, of these events, and also to the industry. Just to give you a figure following Carlos' speech, in Andorra, the sports sector accounts for the 8% of our GDP. So in the European Union is almost 2.2%, in Andorra is 8%. So we want to keep making that grow because it's part of our value. And also our tourism coming, this 8 million, 16% come as a primary reason for sports reason. So you can tell how important it is for us to support this partnership with very important and international brands.
Absolutely. And also tourism is more than 50% or something like this of your...
Yes, depending on the statistics that you take, but it's between 40 and 50% of our GDP. So.
As you know, in life there are only three things: truth, lies, and statistics. So, which is true, depending on the methodology, right? Goran, one of the typology for sponsoring is endorsing people, right? Legends, such as you. How do you promote internationally Croatia as a sport tourist destination or sport events also that you organize?
We always try to present it together with the destination. For example, here in Zadar, next year we'll have one European senior karate championship, and we can do it just to promote karate. We can go just to promote the destination. We can go. That's some complete promotion with the town of Zadar, with the local authorities, with the sponsors, with the European federations, with the Croatian local federation, with all things together, and then promote it completely. Then we said destination. Destination is not just the hospitality. Destination is just the sports facilities. The destination is complete feeling what you have here. But on this way, we try to promote it. Then with the youngs, as you said, the problems we have with promotion also, which is growing up and goes so fast. The next 10 years, we don't know what we will do. At the moment, that's also with the social medias, with the PR agencies, with marketing agencies. But it's every year we change something because you see that it does not go like this year. You can't go something good this year and that will be good next year. So we have to change everything. You have to change your relationship with the sponsors. You have to change your relationship, and make better relationship with the local authorities, with the Croatian Touristic Board, which will help us a lot to improve the complete the destination, to improve our quality of our presentation, to give us a possibility to make the events on the right way. Because at the end, I will say it again here for Zadar, when you have a good event, when everything is nice, that's the value you give, the money and the finance you give to the events multiply when you're giving back, and you can You can for direct taxes, you can count how good was the event, and indirect, and in the years which come, it's way to growing up the business, and that's the things we are doing. We are not doing just the things one way or one-time jobs. We're trying to improve it to do it for long steps, and not just we are talking about events. Croatia will never be the FIFA organizer, the World Champions, the Olympic Games, but there's a lot of events when you can promote for not so much money, but the promotion, the effective promotion and for the sponsors, everything, it's on the same level.
Promotion, but also taking the opportunity to fill hotel rooms. And seasonality is a very, very important factor here, right?
Yes.
Shoulder seasons should be filled with, or events can help to fill hotel rooms during shoulder season, right?
Yes, and we are always, I have to say that we are trying to organize the pre and post season, the events. So we start. Some events you have to organize in the summer when it's the high season here. For example, now in the pre-season in April, May, or in October, November, that's a perfect way to make the season longer. It's super important for the destination, because the industry works in destination all the time. The industry is not working for 3 or 4 months. The industry is working a lot. You can give the longer visibility for the sponsors. You're longer in the media, so we try to make it bigger. There is the example for the cycling. We have the problem with the cyclotourism because we have raining for 3 months. So, and we have to find, you have the right sport, you have to find the right investment which you will receive back. Like Burak said, they said with the sailing, and that's one type of the promotion they never planned, I think. But this kind of promotion, something happened also. You can't plan everything, and in the future, I don't know what we will do next year or in 2 years with the promotion, but for sure we'll continue to promote the destination, the event, the hospitality, the whole package together.
Absolutely. Thank you. Let's talk a little bit about the activation of the sponsorship. So, okay, I'm a brand. I can invest in sponsoring an event that happens at a specific destination, but then I need to activate this sponsorship, right? At what extent the destination can ease the whole process and facilitate the activation process in terms of permits, in terms of space, etc.? You both are leading very significant and relevant destinations. To what extent the city or the country is facilitating the activation of sponsorship agreements?
I'm happy to start. I mean, in terms of activation, I think any event, I think we would all agree, without activation, you have missed. I mean, it's at the heart of it, isn't it? Because that's how you bring the community together. That's how you enhance the sport. That's how you make that association. Everything we've been talking about already in some of your presentations. So that's really, really important. So for us, or for any destination to be attractive, easing, facilitating, negotiating, contacting, navigating that ability to be able to enhance that activation, it's a huge attraction in terms of what would bring people to you. So for destinations like us, we can do things like kind of unlock iconic places, special places. A city like London has a lot of fantastic, let's call it backdrops or venues that would really enhance the event and would make the experience that much bigger for people. Things like the Guildhall or Trafalgar Square, things that people would recognize, and then again, it's a real benefit to the activity itself. There are things, cities and nations. It is complex. We all know there's huge amount of stakeholders. So again, navigating. So one thing is unlocking things. Another thing is just navigating the all the permits, who to talk to, where to go, even understanding. One of the things that you talked about, Carlos, was the why. Understanding the objectives of what both the sport and the sponsor want to do. We as a destination can matchmake, if you will, understanding those objectives, where best to do things that maybe you would have wanted one thing, you wouldn't have thought because you don't have the knowledge of what's available, what makes sense. So we're able to match again with the objective of maximizing that activation, and making it open to everybody. So There are examples like Ride London. I was taken by cycling. Actually, you were talking to, because again, it's not just the mega events. You talked about the Olympics and all these mega events, but there's smaller events that still are very linked to what the city wants to accomplish. Cycling doesn't have to be kind of the sport. It could be urban cycling. That's a huge objective for us in London. So knowing that what that sport is trying to do, or that particular event is trying to do, makes it perfect. So all of a sudden doors start opening. We're able to open those doors because the objectives of the city and how it helps the community match the objectives of the sport. Something a bit more commercial, understanding that there was a large percentage of the commercialization for a sponsor. So that's for the event, but for a sponsor, things that happen as well is that they want to, for Formula E, we have a big connection with Formula E for a lot of good reasons in London. And one of the sponsors happens to have a retail on Carnaby Street, if you know Carnaby Street in Soho, again, a very iconic location. They want to have a Formula E car in front of their shop. So again, those things, take, a lot of negotiation, a lot of context, stakeholder management to make them happen. So it's a benefit to the sport, it's a benefit to the city to showcase Carnaby Street, it's a benefit to the sponsor because it's in front of their shop. So all of those things, all those activations are the things that we can help do. And I have tons of examples, but I'll pass it on.
Last Sunday, for example, the marathon, right?
The marathon, exactly. And and you talked about, so you talked about Emirates, which is now not Emirates, but the cable cars. So, Pokemon Championships were last year, and one of the things that we were able to do as London Partners is connect the sponsors of the event to Transport for London, TfL, and they were able to take over that whole thing for their very immersive activation, and that made sense because a lot of people, that's how they would travel to the actual event. So it's not just, it's when you connect all those dots that really brings the kind of the wow factor to an activation, and we can help make that happen.
In Andorra cycling, for example, you need to close the roads.
Yes, and
Andorra has a limited number of kilometers.
We don't have a lot of options of roads. But I completely agree with Rose, of course, and that's why we don't talk only about that we sponsored events or championships, but we collaborate with the organizers to ease them. I mean, we need to close roads, we need to talk to the police, but also some funny things. For example, we have the Ironman running in Andorra, in this high-altitude country. And we need to work with FEDA, our electricity company, to heat up the lake where they're going to swim. Because otherwise, it wouldn't be allowed for them to
And how do you do
plunge.
this? Judith,
I will leave that to the electricity company to explain you.
Sponsors, there's going to money.
Well, it's an example, but it's essential, this collaboration and this partnership, more than just paying for them to come. And then apart, it's very essential for Andorra, and I mentioned before, and Rose mentioned that as well, is the local return of everything we do. So, for example, we measure very much what's the impact in the local businesses. So, for example, there is, I don't know whether you know, this burrito race organized in Andorra, cycling, climbing, etc. And we know it sells over 2 million nights in Andorra, which is a huge impact in a season that's not high season. So that already justifies and multiplies what Andorra is paying for the event. So for us, that's also very, very important to be involved to ensure this local return.
in a triangle where we have the destination, the sport organizer, event organizer, and the sponsor, right? At what extent do you think, and maybe Burak, you can start with, at what extent do you think that the sponsor has a say where to place the event?
Sport person, you mean?
No, the sponsor, at what extent they have the power, limited or unlimited power, to say, okay, I want this event to happen, for example, a Final Four, okay? EuroLeague basketball as an example, pick any other, okay? I want the Final Four to take place in this place. At what extent?
It's very, in big extent, I would say, because, in the major sense, for an event to be successful, definitely results, sports people, competition, they are all important.
Absolutely.
But financial background of the event is, where you start, where you search the capabilities about what you can do. So in that respect, I think sponsors has a great say about in which country to do it, under which circumstances, or even which city. So I think it's very, very important. We have also experienced this in many our organizations, and also even in the sports that we supported. In that sense, of course, sponsors also definitely trying to find the solution, the destination which will contribute to their end goal. Say it as brand recognition, say it as creating a positive image. So in that sense, they have a strong say in that.
Sometimes in this triangle, the sponsor, the destination, and the sport right holder, sometimes the destination is also at the same time a sponsor, okay? From a branding perspective, from many other objective and sponsorship rights and benefits. Especially you two, Rose and Judith, that you are representing destinations at the end of the day. When you also sponsor, become the sponsor, not only hosting, but also sponsoring, what are the main objectives, and how do you usually activate this sponsorship side of the agreement?
Okay, I'll start now. I'll be very brief. In Andorra, we have very strict criteria in order to decide whether we sponsor besides the hosting the event. And that criteria follows, as I said, one is a local return, but also that's being co-financed, so it's not only the destination interested in that event, but also we take advantage of the opportunities that the sponsorship can give to transmit or to make sure our values are going through the event. For example, one of the very strict criteria has to do with sustainability. So we need to make sure that whatever Andorra sponsors has this balance of the carbon footprint. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sponsoring. So that's a way of transmitting, of making sure that our values go through and that the event will follow our values. So I would say following very strict criteria and working together with the event and other sponsors. Absolutely.
And I mean, it's exactly that. I think it is having very, very clear objectives and the values. That's not always easy, but that's where that collaboration that Judy was talking about was so important to make that happen. So not that it doesn't work for everything, because it's not just. It does require some careful handling of what you do. But I think what's interesting, and you touched on this, I think, Carlos, in your presentation, is that value base, which is what I would call it, it's becoming much more of what I would call a trend now. And I think it's not just a nice to have for sports and for sponsors, but it's a must have. And that is helpful to the destination, and it's when you get that alignment, when all those things kind of work together, all of a sudden it's that much easier. So I would say it's something that is incredibly important, and that I think it's something that we will probably see more of, because people are much clearer in terms of what they want to achieve. You know, the cities are always relatively clear, but that connectivity, understanding that there's a benefit to connecting directly with the values of a city and the culture is it's something that now the other side is seeing value of. So I think there are going to be more opportunities opening up for that.
Let's assess this equation the other way around. I mean, at what extent the destination and also the sport organizer, or for example, are comfortable or not with the sponsors that are sponsoring the sport event, and at what extent the destination can, facilitate the activation of the sponsor from a SDG perspective?
Yeah, I think there are things to be there. It is, sponsors, of course, can be convinced in that manner. Event sports people or competitors can come up together with the destination management, and definitely they shall inform about the positive sides of having the event in that location. We managed to do that. In my previous example, all these organizations, they had other preferences. Their major sponsors, they had different opinions in terms of where they shall hold those events. However, that time, we were dedicated, but we were also very lucky because that time, Croatian Tourism Board, Ministry of Tourism of Croatia, that time it was only Ministry of Tourism, both cities, the city administrations, they gave us all the support to convince those events to take place not anywhere else but here. So on the other hand, when you are dedicated, those years, we managed to bring the highest level EuroLeague clubs to Croatia for pre-season preparation tournament. So this is what I really, again, would like to emphasize. Depends on the people. Dedication of the people, devotion of the people, belief of that people that they can really make it.
Okay. Goran, do you want to add
Yeah,
something?
we talk a lot about what happened with the events come, but sponsors mostly finance event and sponsor something. We said donate or finance event before the same event to promote it, and we have really good examples here that the touristics board, the local touristics board, the town touristics board, the Croatian touristics board finance something for the future. You finance the future. You finance something. You bring now. One to give 10 back next year. That's not directly just for the event. The sponsorship came much earlier, and and receive this sponsorship benefits long time after the event. So the same the event or the destination, everybody, it's the main thing on which you grow, which starts with everything. But before and after, the results are incredible. And one of the most important things for the sponsors, for the event, is emotion. When the emotion of every participant, for everybody there, is on the highest level, then you can say that the event is successful. On the other way, from the organizer, when I start with a business, then one older friend who was organizer, a lot of events told me, when is the event successful? And you said, yeah, when the sponsors, when the result, you can say everything in one sentence. When the VIPs are satisfied. At that moment, event is successful. Believe me, it's true. I tried, but that means that all parts of event, all parts of that, everybody from the stakeholder, from the town, from the VIPs, from the sports, that's everything clapped good, and everything finished good. At that moment, we can say the event is successful because you have bring the money and you take the money back and business is rolling.
Okay. We have few more minutes before finalizing this very interesting panel. I have a question in terms of destination and the sponsors. Most of time, destinations are sponsoring events that they are hosting at their destination. But sometimes, sporadically, and I can mention several examples, destinations or tourist boards, DMOs, are sponsoring events that happen abroad. Rwanda, Arsenal, Andalusia in Miami, Beijing in Lakers or Knicks, etc., etc., etc. What are the criteria to sponsor something that is not happening at your destination? And what's your opinion about this?
I think like with any sports, I don't think it's going to be any different than what we have said, looking at it from the other side. Ultimately, you are packaging a brand. And I think it's just making sure that that brand and that synergy of objectives is being met. So you, just like people want to make sure when they come to London that it's going to make sense for them, I don't see that any different for us, you know, taking our own property elsewhere and just saying, how can it build, enhance on what we want it has its own brand and personality, but then using the local culture to kind of enhance that. So it's a bit of both. You have to be really clear about who you are and what you're trying to achieve, and going back to being boring objectives, but then how do then that match how that particular destination enhances that? What benefit does it bring? So I don't necessarily see it any different. I don't know, Judith, if you do.
Well, for us, it's pretty straightforward. Andorra, so far, we haven't had the strategy of sponsoring something somewhere else out of Andorra. Again, it's because of our objectives are very much of the attraction of the country. It doesn't mean that it won't happen in the future. It's always on discussion. And also, well, there's always a limited budget, and that's very expensive to activate. So Andorra hasn't worked that way yet, I would say. So we focus the efforts on sponsoring and hosting the events in the country so far. So.
Unfortunately, the panel comes to the end because we don't have any longer time to discuss, and unfortunately, because this has been a very interesting discussion, and thanks. Goran, thanks for everything. A great congratulations again for all your achievement, not only as a champion, but also in terms of the sport travel. And 8th of August, right? No, 8th of August, okay.
6th of July, please.
6th of July. Remember, 6th of July is his birthday. Rose, London, not Ontario, but UK. Congratulations also for everything that you are doing. Great. Burak, 8th of August, yes, absolutely. Doge, sailing, marinas, basketball, everything. You are a part of a great conglomerate. Very, very powerful.
Thank you.
Judith, small country, but you do a lot of things, and very, very professionally.
We try.
Right? And tomorrow she's going to be part of a very, very interesting panel as well, along with Iris, for example, in terms of innovation and health tourism. Looking forward to it. Thanks. 26th of March? October, 26th of October. So thanks again for everybody. The next panel will start at 5 p.m. sharp, hopefully. Sharp. So see you later on. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good afternoon, and again, apologies for the delay. We are going to get started with our second panel on this stage on best practices for DMOs to attract sports events. And I'm very pleased to introduce the moderator of this panel, Mr. Lars Pedersen. He's currently Managing Director of the Global Sports Practice at BCW. And one of the things that I'm most impressed about his CV is the extensive experience in bidding for a sports event, including many successful bids. So, Lars, please take the stage.
Thank you. I think this is one of the most important sessions of today. So I'm sure we will have many more people coming because we heard during today about all the great things that sport events can do for a destination in job creation, tourism, sustainable development. However, in order for that to happen, you need to host them first. You need to get them. You need to win the right to host them. And that is because it's such an attractive thing, there is tough competition out there. Every time there's a great event ready to be hosted, there's normally more than one destination that raises its hands and say, I want to host. Other countries say, we want to host, okay, and then the competition starts. And if you don't win that competition, you're not going to host it. So hopefully during the next hour or so, we can share with you some good strategies on how to actually win the rights to host the events and maybe some smart tactics. So we'll get to all that with our panel. But to kick us off, we start with a very interesting keynote speech by Mr. Jan Vilku, who is the Director of Affiliated Members Services, a department of UNWTO. Mr. Vilku has a long career in public service, mainly for Romania, as the ambassador to many countries, Spain, Argentina, Paraguay, Chile. I see a Spanish language commonality there. So please welcome on stage, Ambassador Vilku.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Talking about winning the bidding process, I see that our Congress is already very attractive because we are receiving already very strong candidatures for the third edition of this Congress that will take place within 2 years. I am extremely pleased to have this opportunity to open this interesting panel. First of all, because it's focused on a topic which is a very priority one on our agenda, and on the other hand, for a very specific institutional reason having to do with the condition of affiliate members of many of the destinations that are contributing to our knowledge in this topic, among which some participating in this panel. So first, before that, let me just say that to briefly refer to the dynamic of the tourist sector and of the so-called sport industry in this moment. And our Congress is taking place within a very encouraging context for the tourist sector, with the international tourism showing a strong recovery after the unprecedented impact of the pandemic. According to our most recent data, you can see on the screen, in 2022, the tourism sector had a very solid performance, with international arrivals reaching almost 65% globally of the pre-pandemic levels, and with Europe strongly leading this recovery process. And at the same time, our forecast for this year anticipate levels close to those registered before the pandemic, and with this dynamic, it is quite probable that the forecast we made a few years ago for 2030 will fall short. But at the same time, we must be aware that very important challenges and risks remain, related mainly to the current geopolitical and economic scenario, and is a factor that we all know, like the Russian military aggression on Ukraine, the rising inflation, and the spike in energy price, and so on. And the dynamism of the sport industry is also impressive, and consequently, the extremely positive evolution of the sport tourism-related component, and the evolution of key indicators, like the percentage of leisure trip initiated for sport-related reason, or total expenses generated for sport-motivated trips, shows that sport tourism segment, sport tourist component, was becoming lately one of the fastest growing tourist segments due precisely to the virtuous connection existing between tourism and sport. I consider also opportune to refer to the qualitative dimension of the current context, to the challenges and the opportunity that the tourism industry are facing. There is a huge consensus among our partners and members that the pandemic marked a turning point for the tourism businesses, that our big challenge today is to deeply rethink the tourism industry, to relaunch it on a more sustainable basis, starting by embedding in the new business models and strategies the main learned lessons from the recent and current crises and challenges. And one important lesson that this crisis and also the current challenges showed is that the pandemic induced relevant changes of behavior of the consumer. Travelers have become more cautious about the impact of their traveling choices on climate and environment. Therefore, government, destination, and tourist sport businesses must reassess how they respond to this challenging changing expectation of their customer in all the tourist segments, including, of course, the sport tourism. And another key lesson refers to the important role of the public-private partnership to successfully define and carry out this inevitable modernization process. We at WTO became aware that PPP is the only feasible solid basis we need for the global, regional, and national effort to understand and anticipate emerging risks in global tourism and to adapt the sector to the new challenges. In few words, we are facing, of course, a great challenge, but this embeds also a huge opportunity. We, UNWTO, are addressing this challenge, first of all, working hand in hand with our members, both governments and affiliated entities, precisely under a public-private partnership approach. In this regard, allow me to recall that UNWTO has the institutional particularity to be the only UN agency having as members not only the member state, that is to say the government, but also the private sector and the local administration. And due to this institutional characteristic, we are an organization with a relevant capacity to bring the perspective, the voice, and the proposal of the private sector and of the local public administration, including DMOs, within this strategic debate on transforming the tourism industry. This affiliate membership is a great asset of our organization and a permanent source of innovative ideas and support. And it is also an effective platform for dialogue and knowledge generation. And let me share with you that it's also a pillar, a very important pillar of this membership are precisely the DMOs, because we have almost a quarter of our membership destination management organization. And this gives to the Department of Affiliate Members, which I have the honor to coordinate, a valuable capacity to know, promote, and incorporate into UNWTO's agenda and activity their experience, contribution, concern, proposal, and also to us to support their effort. And precisely thanks to such valuable contribution of our members, sport tourism have gained an increasing relevance on the agenda of UNWTO, because we became aware, precisely based on our interaction with our affiliate members that the destinations are increasingly motivated to take full advantage of the huge opportunities raised by sport industry to consolidate their profile and position in the tourist market and to benefit from the positive economic and social impact on communities. At the same time, we are fully aware of the still unlocked potential of sport tourism in many destinations. Consequently, we consistently increased during the recent years our action and research on priority topics as sharing best practices of affiliate DMOs to attract sport events, which is precisely what we are trying to do in our panel, or measuring the economic and social impact of hosting big sport events. And we are also organizing, of course, important sport tourism activities like this Congress. Referring more specifically to the link between DMOs and sport tourism, let me share with you that the detail that in January this year, my department put together a report based on a survey to capture the opinion of a sample of DMOs, which are our affiliate members, some of which being destinations that have hosted world-class sports such as Seoul, Barcelona, or Cape Town. The Destination Management Organization consulted to this survey identified hosting big sport events as being currently the most relevant pillar to be considered by a destination interested in reinforcing its position to sport tourism. And another important input was that the image and promotion opportunity of the destination are considered to be the most important beneficial aspect related with sport events, along with other important factors such as social and economic impact or the increase in the number of visits or of the international arrivals. Based also on the same survey carried out among our affiliated destinations, it is worth to highlight some important potential benefits of sport tourism for DMOs in preparation of the ground for the panel discussion. First, sport tourism generates beneficial economic impact, both direct and indirect. It is worth recalling that one important panel of this Congress is fully focused on this specific topic. Also, the sport tourists produce relevant increments of the tourist flow. Visibility is another relevant benefit because sport events offer to destinations the opportunity to be showcased, generate awareness, and improve its image. A good example could be the city of Baku, the capital of Azerbaijan, that became much more well-known since our hosting Formula One race, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, which will take place, by the way, this weekend. Sport events are also a valuable source of support for the effort of a destination to improve its strategic positioning and refresh its image, and also offer a great opportunity to build and to adapt infrastructure and facilities. The Olympic Games celebrated in London is an excellent example to demonstrate how hosting major events can be an opportunity to modernize the city for the Olympic for the duration of the event and after. When London was chosen to host the Olympic Games, one of the organizing committee commitments was to prevent the construction of unused or underused facilities, to build exclusively permanent facilities that would have a lasting legacy. And they achieved it with an excellent balance for the host city. And finally, but very important is sport tourists consistently contribute to boost the quality of life of the inhabitants of the destination, inducing positive effect on local population, level of well-being, providing local people with the opportunity to lead a more active and healthy lifestyle. To summarize, sport tourism is an effective catalyst for the development of the destination under multiple aspects, infrastructure, sport practice among local community, and so on. Our dialogue with the affiliated DMOs is offering also opportunity to know their perspective on the main challenges they are facing when it comes to host sport events. According to our recent survey and research I mentioned, and I am sure that this panel will further elaborate on the topic, the most important and challenging areas are count on an adequate transport and communication infrastructure, which is the key factor to facilitate to participants and attendants to easily reach the destination. Another key factor and challenge is to count on an effective collaboration between public and private sector. This cooperation is a crucial element, especially when it comes to bid for a major sport event. Furthermore, destinations should design their strategic positioning, taking into consideration their assets, tourist facilities and services, the existing infrastructure and transportation system, as well as the differentiation element included in their proposal. It is also a key factor to professionalize the bidding process, of course. The proposal submitted by the destination to win the competition for hosting the targeted sport event should include accurate, specific information about the destination and regarding key topics such as how private and public sector will cooperate, the estimated budget to be assigned to hosting the event, the legacy plans, the environmental and social sustainability plan, with a focus on how the sport event will generate positive impact on the local community. And within this context, this is why we consider it extremely important to have in the program of this Congress a panel with these topics as a framework to first-hand know the expertise and concrete example on best practices and projects of leading sport tourist destinations like Zagreb, Madrid, Zadar, Turkey, and I have no doubt that we will take full advantage of knowledge of the mentioned distinguished speaker due to the professional guidance of our moderator, Lars Pedersen. Finally, allow me to take this opportunity to underline that this Congress, specifically this panel, offer to UNWTO an excellent opportunity to showcase our strategic partnership with the private sector, with the local stakeholders, the value of the UNWTO affiliate member brand, and the advantage to become a UNWTO affiliate member. Having said that, I have a huge pleasure to open this debate, and I am fully convinced that the panel will provide the perfect framework for an exchange of idea, proposal, and to first-hand know excellent and inspiring examples of good practices. Once again, my sincere thanks to the panelists, to the moderator, and to all of you participating. And having said that, I think it's the moment to kick off the panel. Thank you very much. I think.
Far there. Thank you, Ambassador Villeneuve. Very good. Inspiring words here to kick off this. And now we will invite our panel to the stage, like one by one, starting with Martina Bienenfeld from the lovely city of Zagreb Tourist Board, please. Take number 2 there. Doing a great job for Zagreb, and also the ones of you who are flying out of Croatia with Croatian Airlines, don't forget to pick up the in-flight magazine. There's a great interview with Martina in that magazine. Also, Ivana Đurić. Yeah, Ivana Đurić from the eastern part of Croatia, Osijek Baranja, which is known for many good things, including wine, and now are moving into tourism and maybe also into sports tourism. Welcome very much. And also welcome, please, one of our local hosts, Michela Katia, CEO of the Zadar Region Tourism Board. So thank you for hosting us here. It's the first time I am here, maybe the first time some of us are here. It's a great place, so really nice to have you here. And last but definitely not least, from Turkey, Mrs. Dalyan Senori, who are representing the Turkish Tourist Board, and Turkey is one of the countries in Europe really active in sports tourism, not only with events, but I hardly can't find a major football team in Europe that is not doing the winter practice in Antalya, Alanya, and southern Turkey, and also now with the Champions League final coming up in Istanbul in June 9 or 10? Or?
9th and
9th,
10th, yes.
Okay, thank you. So great panel here, and we will kick off with a little survey I have been told. You have on your app a small questionnaire which is linked to this session. So if you open the app, and you can choose between some options. Are we okay with that? You find it? Yeah. You already started voting? Is it just one person who had insert 5 answers? Or maybe we keep it open for a second. Yeah, please. We keep it open? Yeah. While we are keeping it open, I'm just saying that we have some microphones available. So if any of you at any time during the next 30, 40 minutes have a question or a comment, please raise your hands and our friend here will bring you a microphone right away. So please, we would love you to interact while you are still voting. Are we voting up here? No, yeah. Well, let's have it going here. What we're looking at here are what you, the audience, think are the most important factors for launching a bid for an event. And when I look at them, quite some of them are, if I may say so, technical. And a few of them, maybe like legacy and so on, are more, let's say, value added, more intangible. The technical, we would normally say in bidding, is about how. How do you want to organize the event that you are marketing for? While the others are more addressing the why. Why do you want to host it? So maybe we kick off a little like when you are out there in the marketplace promoting your destination, alone or with sports organizations to rights holders, how do you balance, let's say, the how and the why? How much energy, time do you spend explaining hotels, airports, all the technical stuff, which most destinations kind of have, compared to what kind of purpose do you put into this? Why should they come? Why do you want to host it? What are you contributing? I don't know who wants to kick off. Janja, we don't want to start. How would you balance that? You kind of need to cover both.
Well, that's right. I think they are equally important for the destination, the technical aspect and the emotional aspect. Maybe if we diversify them as multidisciplinary events or thematic events, single discipline events. If we are hosting multidisciplinary events like big Olympics or games that include many other sports events, so I think the technical aspects are more in priority. Mm-hmm. The infrastructure, the accommodation, the reach, the transportation, because you are bringing a huge amount of people to the destination. We, as a DMO, we consider it as sort of like a MICE event. You need all the infrastructure. In Turkey, we can easily say we are proud to have that infrastructure with an international airports, not only in one destination, in many destinations. Yeah. Sports facilities and accommodation facilities that would cater to different people who arrive. But if it is a thematic, one single discipline event like a cycling conference or let's say like a swimming competition, it is, I believe it's more of the emotional aspect comes in scene. For example, that maybe that destination has good terrain, the assets of the destination are suitable for that specific event, which is cycling or swimming. For example, Istanbul is a unique city in between two continents. So when you host a swimming competition in Istanbul, which swims from Asia to Europe, it is, I think it's more of an emotional aspect of it to the destination. Yeah. And so also, not only from the destination's assets, but also the sports, the athletes who are in the destination benefit from these events. When you bring an international event to the destination, you encourage them, you sort of inspire them. So also that is an important point, checking out what the destination offers in 360, all manners.
Yeah. I saw, Martina, you were nodding, and in the meantime, the top scorer is social sustainability plan and community engagement. This has very little to do with hotel rooms and airports and transportation.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm really happy something is wrong with, is it okay now?
It's fine, yeah.
Yeah, it's better.
Go, yeah.
So once again, good afternoon, and I'm really happy to be here with us. I'm also happy that the audience is actually interested in this topic that we are covering. I would agree with you, but also I wouldn't know, this is the question of chicken and an egg. What is the most important when bidding for one sport event, whether it's the big international sport event, whether it's a regional one, local one? But what is the most important from my point of view and also from the experience of Zagreb, thank you, hvala, hvala puno. This is better now,
yeah.
Is the synergy of it all. So from my point of view and as a tourist board of Zagreb, we do not participate directly in the bidding processes. So we are just a part of the whole group of stakeholders that are deciding whether Zagreb as a capital city of Croatia and as one, I dare to say, the most important cities that can offer the infrastructure for some sport event, no matter, as I said, whether it's international, regional, local. We do support the idea of being the hosts. For us, it is really important because this is not only the sport event that gives us the visibility in the region for the Europe and worldwide, because not only sport event, everything else was what destination like Zagreb can offer does the whole of one event. Also, what is very important for us at the moment is that we have the ministry that combines tourism and sport. This is new, and I think really very important for Croatia as a country and for Zagreb as the capital city, because sport was always important. It always attracted a big number of tourists, followers, sport organizers, teams into the destination, but we were never aware of the importance of combining sport and tourism. And this is probably one of the best things that happened to the Ministry of Tourism, to us as tourist boards, and to the destinations, no matter which, if we are talking about city of Zagreb, county of Zadar, county of Slavonia and Osijek, Baranja, I'm sorry, or any other. So this is really huge and very important. And also what is here nice, we have seasonality still in Croatia. We do want to have whole year-round tourism. We do have it also, I dare to say, only in Zagreb, and sport helps that.
Yep.
Sport can help this to happen in every county, in every city, and in every destination in Zagreb. So this is, I think, extremely important, and we are happy that we can act according to the new rules from the Ministry of Sport and Tourism that can offer us.
Sure, very good. Ivana, but you are now want to promote your region, kind of a new region. You are going to talk to people who decide where major events in sport should go. What do you, there's many things to say, but how do you prioritize the things about the technical things you can offer? Or do you more try to build a kind of a story about a new place that talking to the why of the decision? What would you overall prioritize?
I would say both ways. Absolutely, it's not working.
No.
Yeah. Okay, you hear me?
Yeah.
now? So I would definitely say both ways. When you don't have high level of technical capacities, maybe in terms of large hotel infrastructure, etc., then it becomes, I would say, also a strategy for you because you attract the events also that fit your size. That is the case with inland Croatia in general, also with Slavonia and Baranja as a region. What we are actually doing, we are in general trying to promote Eastern Croatia as completely new tourist destination.
Okay, yeah.
And we are targeting different kind of tourism products, one of that being also sport tourism. And assisting sport organizations who are actually leading the process with the tourism content, but also with all the technicalities, how to make the sport event also a sport tourism event. So we're providing social events, gastronomy, evenings, entertainment programs from one part, and on the second we are trying to assist the organizers to make the bid the best possible. In that way, we enrich the program with different itineraries as well that promote the destination itself. We do have certain challenges. One of the challenges are the airport links, large hotel infrastructure, but in general, the feedback that we get from the sport organizations that are organizing large or medium events is that the region is very appreciated by the competitors who come, because we're talking about smaller cities, very secure areas, and the hosts which are very welcoming, so they are already coming back to the regions where they feel quite at home. We have several events, and I would say they're growing each year more and more, and what we're trying to do is push them from only sport segment to sport plus tourism segment, and to get also the competitors to come back as visitors, and that way to use the sport event for the destination promotion and branding.
Yeah, great. And Michela, Sada region is, when I told my colleagues in different countries, I'm going here, they say, oh yeah, I know, I was sailing there, and they know the name, but they did not connect it just like that with sports and sporting events. When you're doing this now going forward, how are you balancing the technical part and let's say creating a new story of a new event in Europe that could host, or a new place in Europe that could host major events?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. Pushing your way through developing different special interest products, as we call them in tourism. And with the tourist boards and DMOs, we always emphasize the why, because that's a part of our job, creating brand, creating the awareness of our offer. So we would be those that have the technical part, and if we are not such a big influential destination, we don't have that influence, that big impact, we have to focus on the why, giving that something special, something emotional, giving that special reason, great destination, great offers besides the competition, so that triggers, because then there is a buzz and everybody wants to come to that destination just to see what it is. We in Zadar Region Tourist Board see that we have to really cooperate with the tourism sector, with the private sector. That is very important to us. So when we started to develop our brand more thoroughly, we were focusing, we did a brand strategy, and we saw our focus in active tourism, in sports tourism, because of our competitive difference, and that is the beautiful nature, all the opportunities it offers for an active vacation, whether it's in cycling, in hiking, in kayaking, water sports, river sports, sea sports. So that's what we started promoting 5 or 6 years ago, and I'm just going to tell you one of the projects we did when we started focusing on cycling, because we saw it as a huge trend that we are supposed to follow. So we made a platform that would serve all our hotels or our private sector in more easily communicating and attracting visitors. So we did a tracing of the whole region. We identified 100 routes.
Yeah.
We differentiated 3 types of cycling. We did the whole study. We then certified partners so that there's enough services, enough accommodation that is facilitating such a product. We did a website that was specifically made for that, for the cyclists, for those that appreciate cycling and know the product. So it really made a difference to the agencies, to the hotels, to everyone working to attract such guests, because they had something to show. Okay, it's not just come to Zadar, what it is. So we have this and then that provided a great platform. So now Falkensteiner has a Grand Fondo event attracting 1,500 cyclists. They do a triathlon, and I think that is the synergy that we're looking for. Us making awareness in some segment, and then private sector following up on that or mutually working on that.
Okay, cool. Ian, are there any experience gathered by the UNWTO about this, how destinations better frame their pitch if they go more on the technical side and be more factual, or how they maybe develop into more a value-added emotional argument as well?
Let me explain briefly which is the logic behind the way we are dialoguing, we are carrying out the dialogue and the interaction with our affiliate members, in this case with our destination management organization. We, as I mentioned in my intervention, we have a very rich network of affiliated entities, for business companies to local public administration. And as you can imagine, the inputs we receive are very diverse, covering a lot of topics, including the topics that it's of focused our panel. And we try to make a selection on what we consider is the most relevant to share within the network of our members. So the idea is that on one side, as a first step, we try to achieve the objective to share knowledge, to share information, but at the same time to see some kind of pattern, what kind of topics we consider we have valuable input more than in others. So this is precisely the mechanism how 3-4 years ago we put sport tourism in the agenda of UNWTO, because our observation was the richness, increasing richness of the proposal we receive from our destination. And for example, we have, we will see tomorrow in one panel, we have an affiliate member starting to organize in Madrid a tournament for football for amateur clubs for kids between 8 and 40 years. And now this edition they will have, I don't know, 600 teams from all over the world because of the focus they put in education, in sustainability values through sports. So this hit a topic of a huge interest for other destinations. So when we observe that we have a very valuable proposal, on one side we try to put it in the agenda of the UNWTO in a more structured way, and on the other side to see what kind of input experience do we have. And of course we have all kind of profiles, but for us it's very important to be the dynamism factor, and then to take stock of the inputs. And the third step is to produce tangible products that could be helpful for destination and for the government. Finalizing this Congress, our intention is to take stock of the contribution, to put together with other knowledge we received, and to create, for example, a set of guidelines on how to look for sponsorship in a more professionalized way, or on how to position as a destination and sport unit. So we have all kinds of contribution, and we try to focus on that example or good practices or topic that we consider that it's very much worth to be shared with our
Thank you.
network.
And thank you for joining me on stage to create some kind of gender balance. But it's a very woke panel we have here, yeah? Bidding, competing for major events, we have seen some change, some trends changing in the last years where football, UEFA, FIFA, they are still staging bidding competitions where different countries, cities officially register a bid and then they compete, while many other sports organizations, including from the IOC and down, they are awarding their events through what they call a dialogue process, meaning it's not like an official tender, if I may say so, it's a talk, and it's going on all the time. I was thinking this must have some implications for destinations who want to be active in that market, meaning you cannot just wait for a document to arrive and say this is the process for, in case of Turkey, try to get the European UEFA Championship, and there's a process outlined, because many other major events, basketball, athletics, swimming, are awarded through such dialogue process, meaning you probably would need to be very proactive and be out there in the market all the time. I don't know if has that changed something in the way you work? Something, Diane?
I think we have a good example, like, you know, if we are talking about best practices in Turkey for that. We have just recently announced that we are hosting a Eurovelo conference in Izmir this fall in October. We are, as the DMO, it's also maybe something new. We took the lead to become the partners in many organizations.
The initiative came from you?
Yes.
Not from the Turkey cycling, if I may say so.
No, it came from the destination itself. Because the destination, the city of Izmir, is part of the Eurovelo network. And so we took advantage of that, what destination has to offer. And ECF, the whole network, we became the member of ECF. We started the dialogue and the communication. We have attended all the events. And eventually, with of course, the assets that the destination has, we brought together the stakeholders, including the municipality, who is actually the owner of the route. It's not us. It's not the Federation of Cycling. So we gathered with them, with the stakeholders like Chamber of Commerce, even the bike manufacturers. They were also, the private sector was also part of the process. And now this is an increasingly important event for the destination, because the city of Izmir is also leading in cycling tourism. It's not only bringing the tourists, it's also creating the awareness for the city. So, well, of course, for the major events like UEFA Cup, the final, it's not only the dialogue. Of course, the infrastructure is a big part of it. Istanbul Airport, you can reach there from like more than 200 countries with direct flights, so it's important. But in every city, like let's say in Mersin, in the Mediterranean, it is not like Istanbul, it's not the main entry point, but Mersin offers quite a big infrastructure for sports and interest also. Interest and passion is also important. So at that point, dialogue is a very supportive way of attracting events to the city.
Martina, you also kind of proactively going out to the market, and maybe even before the sports federations go out, you go out and talk, and you use the microphone.
In a way, yes.
Good,
and I would agree that the dialogue is extremely important these days. But the traditional way as well. It depends on the sport, on the event of what we are talking about. But we also are promoting, besides our regular activities in promoting the destination, we have created the website, which was very important for the city of Zagreb. During the pandemic, we only focused on the activities on online and offline promotions, but then we had the idea with Medan Čorak. Good day, I'm really happy that you are with us here today, a professional in sports, also with the Croatian Committee, Olympic Committee, with other professionals in sports. So we created the website promoting Zagreb and all the possibilities that you can in Zagreb organize, whether again it's a small sport activity, big sport events, just the recreation, then for tourists and for visitors, what can they can do, how they can practice their sports and everything else. I'm sorry that we cannot show you the website, we are very proud of. And we also won for that website first prize in Hamburg last year. And also I am happy to say and to share with you that the Zagreb Tourist Board and Zagreb is one of the few cities in Europe that do have this website covering everything. Not everything.
To make it easy
but
for rights holders to go to you directly.
Absolutely, and also this helps the federations, the clubs, and everybody else who would like to bid for some event to go to the website, share with us informations, and be more proactive and maybe have a better position in the bidding process. So I'm happy to say that the next year we will have the European Championship in Judo 2024. And also together with Denmark and Norway, in January 2025, Croatia will host in Zagreb the World Men Handball Championship. So we are very proud of that. And already we do have that on our website, so everybody can go and check what's going on for Zagreb. So this is just one of the things that we are doing to promote sport and the tourism at the same time for the destination.
Ivana, is this the same for you? Because if you're going to present, let's say, a rather new region to decision makers about where should major sports events go, big or small, you cannot, maybe not wait, if I may say so, for the Croatian federations of all kinds of sports to align with you. You might have to do something proactively, directly from your destination. Is this something you are considering?
I would say first, that the law on sport in Croatia does define the road to getting large sport events, absolutely. And that's from one side. The second is that I would say the negotiations that we start with, we start on a local level, first of all.
Yeah.
Making a partnership and a network that can actually produce an event. Because if you are trying to host an event and you don't have the capacities to host it, you're actually doing a flop.
Yeah.
You are losing a fantastic opportunity to host an event in 3-year time, let's say it that way.
Sure.
So we are, I would say, like Martina mentioned at the very beginning, joining sport and tourism on a national level through ministry is important. It's important because it follows the trend of, I would say, all of us understanding how sport can be a big generator of the tourism, tourism numbers, tourism visits, and all the rest. So we are growing as also the trend is growing as well. What we are doing actually, Osijek-Baranj County has won the bid to be European region of sport in 2024.
Yep.
So the first negotiations that started on local and regional level to see whether we have all the capacities to do it, and we are preparing already in this year, also in previous years, to do to make the sport, I would say, an everyday thing, to make it, as you initially said in your survey, how important is the social element and social sustainability of sport events. So growing the importance of sport on the community level, which we're going to do through European Region of Sport. We're climbing on that ladder to be more and more attractive and promote the region as an interesting spot for large sport events. In that sense, I can say that we have been organizing. This year, we're going to have for the 14th time the World Cup in gymnastics, which usually changes places and cities, but also has the continuance for 14 years because it has the main precondition, and that is the relevant infrastructure to organize such an event. The idea is to host as many possible events of that kind. I will just mention, just briefly, last year we had a clay pigeon archery world championship that lasted for almost a month. And that was amazing for the tourism workers to see how it actually brought great numbers of competitors to the whole region. So we are also understanding all the potential that the sport tourism can offer.
Definitely. Michaela, are you using, as we heard from Turkey, your existing networks maybe to reach out, such as this conference? We had people here from, I saw some people from UEFA, we had the golf tour here, to proactively reach out and pitch for some events to come to Saturday region? Well,
When you said dialogue versus bidding, of course, dialogue serves us best all. We in tourist boards, I think we all agree that we provide a platform, we provide some awareness, we provide some branding, and in that way help the associations, the sport association, to better advocate and bid and make up that dialogue with technical support. What we did, as I previously said, we started promoting sport tourism 5 years ago, and then which proved actually sports combined with the outdoor, so and the nature. So when pandemic came, I have to refer to the Mr. Vilku's the presentation and the numbers. Well, no, actually, what was before our biggest minuses, you know, the seasonality in Croatia and the Mediterranean, that most of our markets are the closed markets, and we always said, oh, I wish we had more Americans, more Scandinavians, more northern markets, but we have here Slovenians and Czechs and Poland, and those two minuses in the pandemic became our plus, actually, because we still had a season where we all profit. Our closed markets remained our main markets, and we had almost 2 pandemic summers just like before, just like 2019. So we came back really, really fast because of our minuses. And what was even more better is that we started promoting this outdoor, this sports, this active way of vacation, which also in those pandemic summers made a great effort for them to come, because you had to distance yourself. We wanted to go into nature. And we still preserved some events in the summer that are focused on this, on the sports tourism. And then, so we didn't lose that much in the pandemic. We actually risen. We came back even stronger, and but for the last 3 years in sport events, we have hosted major volleyball events. Our facilities proved and the destination proved as a great partner when it was the hardest. So they attracted some new events. So now we're sort of a volleyball. We had a women's European Championship, then Challenger last year. This year we have the Golden League, cycling races, the Crow race, and basketball races. So it kind of everything came into place. But I think that our support, our building this awareness of our destination as an active destination, as you said, you heard of sailing, or you heard of it brings a plus to all of those that actually bid.
Yeah, good. Starting with Ian, kind of wrapping up here, we call this best practices, plural. What if you should pick just one, saying, you know, there's many things to do for a destination to attract sports events. If you, and we start here, because then you have more time to think about it. If you should pick only one, saying this should really be the priority that you would recommend to colleagues to attract sports events coming to your place. If it's only one, what would that be? And while you're doing it, I will check if you're right, because I asked ChatGPT about the same thing. So I have the 5 answers here that machine learning would provide, but we get to them after. Ian.
Well, from my perspective, and
just one, sorry.
Take into consideration the variety of experience I can see.
Yes, yes.
I think the most important is to be strategic.
Okay.
To act strategically. First of all, to put together all the specificity, to take decision, and then to avoid any improvisation. And the rest are details that you can manage better, or act strategically after defining the good framework, at least medium term. It's the most important.
Good advice. Yes, next please.
I would maybe choose PPP, because this is really important.
Yeah.
But besides that, I would say flexibility, synergy, and our human touch, that we really would like to do some great job in attracting some sport event.
So human touch would be, absolutely. Yeah, being good partner. Yeah. And yes, Ivana?
It was one.
Yeah, that's the number one, yeah?
I would say both. I mean...
you can only choose one.
Yeah. If I say PPP, one pitch can be people.
Yeah, you're right, okay.
People.
Zoom in.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, 2 would be both people that have the capacity to carry that out, and the second would be absolutely the technical elements, so you can have the superb event without improvisation. Yeah. So that definitely would be the 2. Sorry.
Okay, Michela, just one. Yeah. What if just one thing you should do? I think
to make it a real success is this private-public cooperation.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think there's always something that you forget when there are great sports events that come, but they're maybe not communicated or not advertised enough, so you lack the public, the audience, so. And when everybody works together and everybody knows what their job is in this whole chain, it's better.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're only asked, the DMOs sometimes always ask for funding, but if you communicate early enough, I think we can do a lot in promotion together, and then getting the most of it for both the private and the public sectors. But joint forces, I think there's more sustainability in that approach.
Yeah. Jalan, what's the one best practice that you would recommend?
I would also say cooperation and communication, but here, instead of commenting on that, I would like to comment on the community engagement. Because if the community is not with you, you might have a huge cycling race, and they might just complain that you are closing the traffic.
Yeah.
So if you are with the community, your event is a success eventually. They would also speak up, talk. You know, maybe there are some marketing people among the community which will support your marketing activities. Yes, cooperation not only with public and private sectors, but also cooperation with the community. So I would add these two, 6 and 7 together.
Oh, that's good. Well, the answer is, ChatGPT said, I asked, you know the ChatGPT system. Yes. I asked, what are the best practices for DMOs to attract sports events? Max 100 words. And it came up with 5. Develop strong relationships, know the market, showcase your destination, develop customized packages, promote your destination. I think a conclusion of this panel is human thinking is still better than machine thinking. So let's give a big applause to our panel for good insights and have a nice evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.